Deborah. How are you?
Hi.
Lovely to be live here with you. How have you been?
Yes, I'm well, thank you. I've never done a live Instagram chat before with anybody, so it's a fun thing to do.
This is my second. My first was a test. Okay, so this is technically my third. My first was a test to just see how everything worked. Then I went on with Ruth last week, and now I'm on with your beautiful self. Thank you so much for coming with me. I wanted to just start out by saying this is a series that I am doing. I'm interviewing people in the community, including creatives and artists, singer-songwriters like ourselves, but specifically people who are using it to help their community. I find that really fascinating, and the hope is to get everyone to realize that they can do more with their gift, whatever it is, just to help their communities and spread a little bit of love around. So, do you want to start by telling us a little bit about yourself, Deborah?
Yeah, I can do. That's great. I'm thinking about how you can use your gifts in community. That's a really nice thing to be thinking about. So I'm Deborah, or Debs, and like you, EB, I have been on a journey of like songwriting and singing and songwriting and music from a young age, really. But it wasn't like my main passion in life from a young age. It's been something I've sort of journeyed through for the last 10 years or so, having had sort of music lessons in school as I was growing up. I played the flute. That was my first instrument. After that, didn't expect to really, do anything big with music, although I really enjoyed being part of musical groups and activities and things. Yeah, but it just became a part of my journey, and part of my personal story is that especially in like my late teens, early and mid 20s, I battled quite a bit with like anxiety and depression, and it's something that's so topical currently as well. And I'm so glad that like mental health and well-being is something that's really being thought about, and people trying to understand it a lot more in recent years and consider it more and take time for yourself. So it's quite a topical thing. But I remember sort of being advised at the time by people close to me to focus more on music as like, and it was a really great sort of outlet. And also from a faith point of view, I'm a Christian, and it was just a really great way to kind of express faith as well through songwriting. And it just sort of grew into this dream of being able to record an album of original songs, which I did a few years ago now, and it was just sort of a dream of about a decade that came together. But aside from music, I live in Leeds in Yorkshire. Yeah, I'm single, currently living with family, and yeah, that's where I'm at. That's been my journey, and involved quite a lot in like music for worship in the church that I attend as well. But I work in a primary school as well during the day. So you've kind of caught me. I've only been home about half an hour, having been surrounded by 60 5 and 6 year olds today. First day back after the summer holidays.
I can imagine. My kids are actually just back as well, first day back. And my toddler, first day at nursery, and it's been a bit of a shock, because I'm like, is he actually ready for school? He's still very much my baby in that sense, and I'm like, no. I want to go home at home, but yeah, he's had a fab day, so it's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like parents are often like, oh, I don't think they're ready, or like it's going to be so hard for me to part with them. But actually the kids absolutely fly when they get there, and they really have a good time. And yeah, so well done for allowing the separation to happen.
I think I was more anxious than he was like so excited this morning, getting dressed, going for his shoes, and I'm like, what am I doing? Thankfully, there weren't any tears that drop off. That's always a really tricky time because you think they're going to change their mind and want to go back home with you. But he just walked off and said bye.
Oh, man.
All right.
Oh,
yeah, thank you so much for sharing, though, about your journey with anxiety and depression. It is such an important topic, and definitely at this time, lots and lots of people struggling emotionally, especially with all that has happened and the results of lockdown. Even with children, we were seeing that last year as well.
Yeah,
which brings,
I bet. No, I was going to say, I bet like you've really seen that in your PD work.
Yeah, I have at work, just lots of people struggling. And I think what made it harder was that there was less help available as there would have been before the lockdown. So the fact that everything has gone either virtual or over the phone, and it's
less personal, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think the way that lots of people dealt with the difficulties surrounding their emotions and their mental health were unavailable as well. So if people went to be with friends or went to certain places, they lost all of that outlet. So it was just, I think people have really struggled. And the fact that we're able to turn to music, not just in our songwriting and expressing ourselves musically, but also the fact that we're able to also release it so people can identify with what we've been through, and hopefully bring some sort of healing or some sort of, to bring them on a journey with us, is very powerful.
Yeah, definitely. I remember, like, from hearing several people talk about songwriting, something that's kind of stuck with me is that if you write songs that are real and express a real experience or something that you've been through, somebody else is going to identify with that as well. Somebody else is going to have been in that place, and it can really sort of, it's just that a kind of a Me Too moment. I think Ruth, you spoke to last week, talks about that a desire for people to have a Me Too moment when they hear your songs. And I know that's definitely happened to me through other artists that I've listened to, like, just, when something they sing makes you go, that's exactly how I feel, or how did you understand that I was feeling like that? And I think music's so good for sort of, emotional therapy, is like you've just been talking about, and it can really sort of minister to those deep places in the human soul and human being. And if we can do that for someone through the songs that we write, then that's brilliant. And
absolutely, yeah, it's so powerful, because if you're able to search deep down within yourself and find the words to express the pain that you were going through or the heartache you were going through, and then express the whole journey and how you found peace, someone is only going to identify. And part of the struggle is they actually didn't find words. They don't have the words to express themselves. So it's that satisfaction of those are the right words. That did you read my diary? Did you read my mind? That is exactly how I was feeling. You couldn't have said it any better, So it's finding the right words, and that's why it's so important that we are genuine, we are real, we are vulnerable, because that's when we actually come through more powerfully. Yeah.
Definitely, just being real and your authentic self, and not apologizing for that, really.
Yeah. So let's talk about the project you had in school.
Yeah. So it was a really fun thing at like the end of the last school year. Everybody knows that last year was up and down the whole time, and because I work in a primary school as a member of support staff through the days, and it was really up and down for the staff and the children. But my goodness me, like it was such a supportive environment to be working in, and just school became like our little survival community, as it were. And just, I think one day I was just sort of, I don't know, you'll get what I say, like when you write songs and it's part of your daily walk, that you'll just sort of be humming a tune, or some words will pop into your mind. And I think I was either like out for a walk or in the shower or something, or in the car. They're the kind of usual places for me. And like this melody and these words started coming into my head, and I was like, this could be a really cool little chorus, like for maybe some kind of school song or something. And it just sort of sparked this little idea in me of like, you know, we haven't been able to really do any music for the whole year in school of COVID restrictions. There was such a limit on, you know, we weren't allowed to do any singing in any large groups, or no wind instruments, anything like that. So we'd missed out on any sort of group assembly singing time, which is something that I just remember absolutely loving as a child, and is just a huge part of what I remember about being in primary school. And this idea came to me of like, you know, why don't you sort of write a song, even use the idea that has just come to you. You could write a song with a group of children, and, you know, who knows what it could develop into. It could become something that they carry through school with them and sing, you know, as a school. And I just thought, okay, I'll just sort of sit on this idea for a while. And eventually I took it to the co-heads at the school where I work, and they really liked the idea. And after I played them the chorus, and they were like, this, I think it actually brought a tear to their eye, and I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. And we just discussed this idea of sort of having a song that would help the school to sort of reinforce its identity coming out of lockdown. Just a fun project, really, uniting. It had to be a small group, obviously, and we still had lots of COVID, you know, restrictions to deal with, but we were able to do it, you know, in a small group setting, with lots of social distancing, and then using some outdoor spaces and things like that. And so basically a colleague who's also really musical and had, unbeknownst to me, actually gone to the heads as well and said, I'd really like to do some music in school. I teamed up with her, and together we ran a series of workshops with some of the older children in school, and we brought the chorus that I'd written, and with the children came up with the verses. So they gave us all the ideas, and we did a lot of brainstorming and coming up with different words for like what school is to us, how it's a good community and is a place for belonging and friends, and then also like the learning and the education, and just trying to reinforce those positive and hopeful messages. And it really worked better than I thought it would, and the children really seemed to get a lot out of the sessions. And thanks to my colleague as well, because I'd had no experience of trying to do some songwriting with children before, and my colleague was like, oh well, I used to do workshops with children, music workshops. So she like started us off with the first couple of sessions, sort of giving all the ideas, we could do this or this, you know, where'd you put the rhyme at the end of the line, things like that. And, you know, just nice little activities to get them thinking about how to form a song. And together we were able to come up with some quite interactive sort of sessions for them. And eventually, by the end, the kids were like singing their own melodies over some chords that I was playing and things, and with the lyrics that they'd written. And it was it just seemed really fruitful in a lot of ways. And at the end of the year, actually, I managed to record the children's voices one by one, and a producer friend that I have that I think you've actually worked with as well.
Mark.
Yeah, it was Mark. Yeah, he and this was in agreement with school. He actually produced the track for us and took the children's voices that I'd recorded and produced the track. So school have that track now forever, and hopefully it's going to be used potentially on websites and things like that. And at the end of the summer term, the last week that the children were in school was when it was permitted to sing outside and have more people outside. So I was able to somehow, I had lots of people sort of step up and say, I've got this and I've got that. And I had like a full sort of PA system with the children had their individual microphones for singing solos, and they performed the song for their school as a whole, as an assembly on the last day. And yeah, it went down really well. People really appreciated the effort that we put in, and the children seemed to really enjoy it, which is the main thing.
Yeah.
And hopefully a few of them have been inspired to sort of keep going with music and singing. And I mean, we don't know what this year is going to hold in terms of, whether we'll be able to get the whole school to sing it together or not at some point. It just depends how things go along the COVID lines, but there's something there, and there's a song for children to listen to, and in classes they can do things with it. And so I was so pleased with how it came together, and it went down really well with the staff and the children. And
wow, such a beautiful story. I think a couple of things stand out to me. Doing something beautiful from a difficult period of time, the fact that everyone was going through COVID and all of these restrictions in place, but something beautiful coming out of that, plus going the extra mile, because you didn't need to do any of that. When something beautiful like that is happening, people just stepping in, stepping up, helping out, it's so good. Plus, I don't know about you, but growing up, I remember the teachers that went the extra mile, that were so passionate about what they did. One of my music teachers actually was the same, Mrs. Popola. My first instrument was also the flute.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she got us together and got us to play for a Christmas event. Ended up not happening because there wasn't even enough slots for it. But it stays with you when people go the extra mile, when they're so passionate about that. Plus, it will set people on a journey of expressing themselves through music, through songwriting, because you've given them those skills that no one can take away from them. So I think that is just amazing. Thank you so much for doing that. The story is just beautiful to me.
Oh, thank you for letting me tell it.
Yeah.
I'm sort of, I don't think I've really actually thought about how significant it could potentially be for some of the children that were involved. And I think from a personal point of view, I just felt like, it'll be really nice to do something musical at school again, as with the restrictions that we had, but also because it's like one of my passions as well, songwriting, and I just felt it was something that I could offer to the school where I work and bring the two together and have some. And thankfully they let me do it. So
that's great. That's really great. Thank you so much for the story. And hopefully we hear more about what the song has done. It's funny, a lot of time you actually don't hear, but even without any feedback, I'm definitely sure that some kids have learned a lot and will go on more with that gift you've given them. So absolutely, no doubt.
I hope so. I hope so. There are some great little voices as well out there. Like they, given the chance to record their voice into a microphone, it's like you see their eyes light up and they're like, wow, it's like I'm in a recording studio. And
great. All right. So, do you want to actually tell us more about your music, what you've done so far? I think you just released a single recently, didn't you?
Yeah, a couple of months ago, but I think it was sort of mid-June time. so time has passed since then, but I released a single called Blackbird, which is out on all the platforms, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, or anywhere really. And that was kind of a bit of a diversion away from the style of songs that I've written before, really, but this has more kind of a jazz blues feel to it. And again, it was Mark Walker that produced the track, and I love it. It's my favourite song to date that I've written, but it was different in style to others that I've. Yeah, so
can you tell
that was that.
Yeah, can you tell us more about the inspiration behind the song?
So I guess it came from a few different places, because there was like the style and the genre of music. I think I've sort of discovered that naturally I have a love for the jazz sound and singing jazz blues style songs. And growing up, I listened to people like Norah Jones, Katie Melua, and more recently Carole King, and just people like that with a kind of free kind of jazz sounding style.
Okay.
So there was that, which put into like the style of it, but also during the lockdowns, especially the first lockdown that we had in 2020, wasn't it amazing how like the bird song just came to life and nature really just took hold? And it, like in some city centres, like even deer were spotted in city centres.
Wow.
But I just remember the birds being particularly loud and jovial, and there was a lot of bird life in the garden at my parents' house where I'm living, and they're particularly blackbirds, and I was watching the blackbirds. But before the lockdown, I can't remember when exactly, but maybe in the year or so before, I'd had like just this little melody come to mind, and the word blackbird. And so bringing those ideas together, I sort of used those things to tell a story really about essentially the blackbird represents us, or me or you, and as it's an expression of faith really as well, but without mentioning faith, which I quite like sometimes in songs. Like they're saying more than they actually verbally say. But so for me, I was sort of like, I could see myself as a blackbird, and they're quite plain. They're sort of quite plain in visually, but they have a song that varies quite a lot. And I just started to sort of think about how they're uniquely designed, which is part of my faith as a Christian. I believe that each one of us has been uniquely designed by God, and we've all got unique gifts and skills. And there's a line in the song that says, "Come fly with me, we'll be flying free, I'll make an eagle out of you." And in that line, I was really trying to say, not that he'd want a blackbird to change and become an eagle, but spiritually speaking, he wants us to fly. God wants us to fly with him, and he wants us to spread our wings and discover the real meaning of life. And so for a blackbird to really soar like an eagle, that was sort of the meaning behind that line in the song. So, but also in the song, it talks about lots of things to do with blackbirds, like them being very unique, and not maybe the best looking bird, but they are just as they were planned to be. And so just a mixture of ideas really in one song. Yeah,
it's beautiful. I like when songs are just full of metaphors for real significant details and topics that we go through, identity, the possibilities of where God can take us to. It's just so full of that, and I just love when you have to listen to behind the lyrics.
Yeah, that's it. More than the words. Yeah,
it's like you're exposing layers of the songs. You listen the first time and something strikes you, and you listen again, something else strikes you. So I just love when songs are that layered and that deep, when you have to sort of dig deep to get all of the beauty of the song. So yeah, truly amazing.
And I think your writing is a little bit like that as well, is it not?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like so sometimes it's actually pretty straightforward, to be honest with you. But yeah, I do love when it's not very when it's a bit obscure, and it's you're talking about a topic that could mean a couple of things to different people. Yeah. So well, was my last song, Dream Again. You know, have you heard it?
Is it Dream Again, or is it Believe Again?
It's Believe Again, yes.
Believe Again. No, so I was just, I know that you released it like a couple of weeks ago, did you? So when we finish chatting, I'm going to go and listen to that because I haven't heard it yet.
It's actually like it's one that you listen to, and obviously you get a lot just by listening to it, but actually it challenges you, because you most of the time we have, ideas and plans that we've made for our lives, but if we realize that God is the one who has the ultimate plan for us, and he has a path, and he already had a design for our lives, then actually to reach it, you have to be flexible, and you have to just sort of say, okay, God, take the reins, take the wheels. And it's just layered, because you're saying, I want to believe again, I want to dream again, but actually, if your dream, you need to be able to put down your dream as well, because what he has planned may be much more different, but in a good way, what he ever imagined. So the end of the song says, no eyes have seen, no ears have heard, no mind has conceived what you've planned for me. Meaning, actually, yourself, you might not have actually grasped the big picture yet. So it's all of that, trusting God, and not giving up on your dreams, but actually realizing that his dream might actually be different from yours. At the end of the day, laying down that dream and saying, okay, God, you take the wheel. I'm happy to just go with you. I'm happy to just go with your flow, because therein lies the biggest satisfaction. That is the ultimate win that you can possibly have. Getting to the end and realizing that you actually did your life, the main goal that you were made for, you hit it. How powerful is that?
And I think it's losing that. It's sort of allowing yourself not to be in control, isn't it? Because we can have such sort of limited views, or we think, I'm going to go down this pathway and this is the right way for me. Unbeknownst to us, like somewhere over here, something that we didn't even know was going to bring us so much joy. And we wouldn't get to it unless we allowed ourselves to be molded, flexible, in the dream that we thought we had for ourselves. And how beautiful is that? Sometimes you have a dream and you're going for it, and you're like, oh, I have no idea what's happening. But actually, maybe God is calling you to something else, and you just need to pivot a little bit. So the song has multiple layers and will mean different things to different people. So yes, definitely worth a listen. Yeah. But do you have any more music that you're working on? Well, I've always got songs coming in the background. They might not be complete yet, but they're in work in progress. So I haven't got a specific sort of recording project that I'm working towards, but I've got a backlog of songs that I sort of need to decide what to do with next.
Don't we all?
I did an album a few years ago, which was like a culmination of sort of 10 years of journey into faith and sort of growing in who I was in God and learning what my gifts were and the ups and downs of life and that was that. And it sort of feels like we're in a totally different season now as we go through these different seasons of life. And so I'm wondering what will be next. But I think I might actually start to test the waters of doing a little bit of private music tuition myself as well. I feel like coming back to my roots as a flute player, that was many years, and yeah, I feel like it's something that I need to restore, that joy of flute playing and passing it on to some little ones. And so watch the space on that one.
And you're like, okay, God, I'm open. I'm open. Whatever comes, we'll see. It's all a bit of an adventure, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, Debs, if people want to listen to more of your music and follow you more on social media, where do they reach you?
So, on here, my Instagram, they'll see on here is Deborah_Bate_songbird. And on Facebook, Deborah Bate Music, at Deborah Bate Music. And I have a website, but I'm in need of a big update. And yeah, that's in the pipeline as well, to do some website upgrading. But that's www.deborahbatemusic.co.uk. But yes, I need to do some big updating there. You'll know yourself that when you work and when you do songwriting and music as well, like you've got all these different hats that you put on. Yeah. There's admin and creativity that goes with all of them, and it's finding the balance of
there is always something needing to be done. There is always something that needs to be updated, and always something that it's endless. But yeah, it's part of the challenge of being a part-time musician, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's all in the fun. It's all part of the fun.
Can I ask? So we actually met each other in this group, Kingdom Music Academy, which has been started by Brad Goldenmore. And I'm just so thankful for that, actually, because I think certainly for me, it started me on my journey, because I always love music and I always sang in church, but I never thought I was going to do it professionally. And every time people asked, I was like, I'm a doctor, what time do I have? But it's been a bit of a journey. But what has been your the most impact that being a part of a community of creatives, what is the biggest impact it's made on your music and songwriting?
Oh, that's a really good question. So many different things. You probably say the same, so many different things. It's the being able to connect with people across the globe that have the same passions as you. The really insightful teaching, Brad and the guests that he brings in. Brad at Christian Music Mentor, and listening that wants to explore what he's doing. It's really helpful to anyone that's wanting to write, record, release their own music. And lately, what I've found really great is having briefs set for songwriting, just to get your creative thoughts flowing. Writing for a brief is not something that I've found easy or natural. So trying to do that has been fun. And yeah, so those things really, I would say. Yeah,
absolutely. I found it really priceless. That I've had people that are going through the exact same things I'm going through, and illustrations I have, they have seen it as well, and any wins they will celebrate with me as well. So it's just been priceless, and just so glad that we all joined that. So yeah. So I thought we will finish by listening to your song.
Oh, how lovely.
So, here is Blackbird by Deborah Bate. Everyone who has listened so far, thank you so much for joining us. I will, at some point, hopefully make these into podcasts as well. But thanks for joining us. Do let us know if we've said something that has really blessed you. We will be grateful for the feedback. I'm going to leave you with Blackbird by Deborah Bate.
Oh, thanks, Maybe. It's been lovely to chat to you.
Oh, Blackbird, you're gonna make it to the other side. Oh, Blackbird, the road is long and the gate ain't wide. Just because I do. Come fly with me, we'll be flying free. I'll make an eagle out of you. Oh, Blackbird, you know I made you feathers and all. Oh, Blackbird, you're not too big and you're not too small. Oh, Blackbird, 'cause I do. Come fly with me, we'll be flying free. I'll make an eagle out of you. Oh, Blackbird, you know your wings were made for flying. Blackbird, some may get so tired of trying, but don't you give up, no, don't give in. From within, don't you worry about anything. I'll keep you safe under my wings. Oh, Blackbird, I hear you calling in the early hours. Oh, Blackbird, sing in the sun and through the showers. Oh, Blackbird, don't you strive and store away. Find rest in me, you're my joy, you see. I'll take care of each day.
Thank you, Evie.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me, Debs. Have a good evening. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.